Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to start the market close with a little soliloquy. As you can see, I got a haircut. And as a result of getting a haircut, my beard, my face looks a little lighter, just like relatively thinner than all the hair I had in the morning. I'm thinking of the soliloquy on the spot, so stay with me here. The stock market this morning also took a little bit of a haircut. And we saw the S&P fall, I think at one point to like 518, pushing almost 517. We were at 533 a week ago. And we started the day at around 524. So we had a little bit of a haircut. But when you get a haircut, you look a little better. You look a little more, some could argue fresh, some could argue professional, and some could also argue that sometimes in order to look really good and to be healthy in the long term, you need a little bit of a haircut. And I think that's what we saw this morning with the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. The S&P 500 took a bit of a haircut, and we're seeing a bit of a recovery into the close right here. Wow, actually a hell of a recovery. Look at that, 523.89 on the S&P 500. Again, we went down all the way to 518. This today, we go all the way down. Yeah, 518.37 was the bottom, and we're making a nice little recovery right back here to the top. Why are we making a recovery to the top? And we'll talk about why I thought we fell around like 11 a.m. today. By around 12:30ish, 1 p.m., we kind of changed the tone of the market. I think because people are buying the dip. And because every opportunity where stocks fall dramatically, even something like Nvidia that, yes, took a little bit of a beating today, people are there and they're stepping in to buy the dip. Nvidia at one point was 1,081, and now we're right back to $1,100, up 20 bucks. It's barely down on the day, down 0.49%. I think at one point it was down 2.4%. And that's because the dip is being bought. The hair is growing back, and eventually we'll have to get another little haircut, but that haircut will be grown back, and you will look better over the long term and be healthier over the long term as the stock market has some of those fumbles, and it will give you opportunities to potentially buy the dip on some of the stocks you like. So we got a dip in the market, and it seems like right now it's being eaten up as we get into the market close, and that's primarily because people continue to want to buy this dip. Did you guys like my soliloquy? I literally thought of it at 3:44. I was like, all right, so how are we going to start the market close? Oh, wait, I got a haircut. And I was going to ask you guys, do you like my haircut? But then I was like, no. I can make this like a poem to an extent. And so that's what I came up. As I said, I can make this a poem. I press the back button on my browser. So anyway, we're here. So why did the market fall? Let's talk about why did the market fall. The market fell because of PMI data. That was the main thing. That was the bad thing for today. And that PMI data was not really good for the broader market. So a couple of things on PMI data. We also had China PMI data that was also not the best today. And then we got a lot of individual stocks to talk about. We'll have Steve joining us at 4:30. He'll give his perspective. Salesforce is up 5% right now. Steve bought the dip on Salesforce. He likes Salesforce, so we're going to talk about that. We're talking about Dell, Robinhood, some new metrics. Carl Icahn's back in the news. Bunch of different things that we have to talk about. So first of all, let's just review what happened this morning. This was the main thing that happened today. PCE was not bad. It came in line with expectations. PCE 0.3% month over month. Expected 0.3%. PCE core was 0.2%. PCE total 2.7% year over year. That was expected. Core 2.8. That was expected. So as you can see, all of these numbers came in the way we needed them to come in. If they came in a little lower, I don't even know if we would have had this dip this morning. But they came in line, and they definitely didn't come in hotter, which seems to signal that we are going to see a good May month, because this was April month when it comes to inflation. If you look at oil right now on the day, oil's down 1%. Oil's basically been below $78 or $79 for the majority of May. So we're likely going to see some energy disinflation. And now if we can get shelter disinflation, we are going to get a lower CPI and a lower PCE. And it's pretty obvious that that's going to happen in the month of May when we get the results later next month. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, a couple of other things for why. Oh, sorry, not PMI, ISM manufacturing. Yes, that's that. Futbucker, thank you for correcting me there. Not PMI. We got PMI a couple of days ago. ISM manufacturing was one of the main reasons we came down. So let me pull up the chart. So this is where we are at. Let me pull up this thing. I had it saved. Oh yes, right here. So this is where We're looking at ISM Manufacturing Index. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm looking at two different charts right here. This is what I was looking at. Hold on. This is what I was looking at, Futbucker. This was actually a little bit. So I was looking at Chicago PMI that came out today, if I'm not wrong about that. So this is the main chart that I was looking at. The Chicago Business Barometer, also known as the Chicago PMI, dropped 35.4 in May of 2024 from 37.9 in the prior month, sharply missing market forecast that ranged from 41 to 42. So I believe if this came out today, and I'm not wrong on that coming out today, I could be wrong, but I think I'm correct on that. That was the main thing that I saw that caused a little bit of hits to the market. Now, obviously, when that happened, the market not crashed, but we saw a little bit of a decrease. And that decrease ended up being one of the dip buying opportunities that algorithms and people decided to get into. Another reason we fell today, it's May 31st, end of the month rebalancing. That's sort of like an obvious reason why we have end of the month sell-offs. On top of that, it's a Friday at the end of the month. So it's generally on a Friday, we tend to have a sell-off. And then on the end of the month, we start to have a rebalance in a variety of the major indices. And that's another reason why things came in a little bit lower. And then ISM Manufacturing, that also came in lower than expected, as Futbucker was saying in the chat. And that was one of the reasons why things went down. Now, in terms of the Canadian economy, their GDP actually expanded by 0.4% in the first quarter of 2024. This is above expectations, and this is what the market wanted to see. So we did have some good news across the entire world showing that showing that growth was expanding. But in the United States, we didn't get that with PMI. Wow, S&P at 525. So even though PMI and ISM manufacturing data was not as strong as it needed to be, that is why we saw the dip. People were willing to buy up the dip. And you're looking at the S&P 500 right here at 525. Again, the main reason I think the market fell today was the Chicago PMI that came out this morning. Expectations, I'll show it one more time. Expectations were for around 41. It came in at 35, and that's lower from 37 last month. So this is based on manufacturing data as well. So when that starts to come in lower, you start to see a little bit more of weakness in the economy, and the market starts to feel, well, wait a second. Is this economy as strong as it is? Stock market says, yeah, it is. And this is one data point that doesn't matter as much in the overall story that we're seeing. SoFi is still down on the day, down 0.36%. Shopify, nice rebound to $59. Lucy, that stock we looked up at this morning, it was up 45%. Now it's up 9% of the day. Enphase at 128, down from 130. Palantir, 2162. Robinhood took a big beating today, down 4%. And I think the main reading for Robinhood being down is because of Bitcoin. Unfortunately, Bitcoin 67,861. At one point, it was 66,605. So a little bit of a rebound here, but it was almost 69,000 this morning. That coming out was not really the best for, it definitely wasn't the best for some of the crypto stocks. And let's look at the crypto stocks right now real quick. Yeah, all of them are red. Look at that. Marathon's red, Riot's red, Coinbase red, CleanSpark's red, Robinhood's red, Bitfarms red, MicroStrategy is red. But again, MicroStrategy was down a little bit more than this. And so this green candle right here, we are seeing a bit of a recovery across every single stock. Now, a couple stocks that really had a decent day. Salesforce. Salesforce is up 6.3 or 6.8% of the day, up 7%. It fell 20%, so basically recovered almost half of the losses that it had. Market cap was 260, now it's at 226. So if you add another $4 billion to that, they would have only lost $30 billion versus losing $60 billion. Why is the market buying the dip? We saw Dan Ives talk on the show this morning on Yahoo Finance that, look, this was just a small bump in the road. The overall narrative is intact, and they're going to keep going. I'm not sure if that's the case, and I think we'll find out over the long term if that is the case. The biggest problem I think the market has right now is that AI might be commoditizing a lot of these SaaS offerings that these companies offer, which is why the revenue guidance and operating profit margins on Salesforce went down. Now, maybe the market's just buying the dip. Maybe the AI narrative that's quote unquote busted for Salesforce actually is busted, but the market wants the dip. That is also a rational thing that could be happening right now. Or maybe the AI narrative is very much intact and it was just one bad quarter, and one bad quarter does not dictate the entire year. And so the market's thinking, you know what, we need some opportunities, buying NVIDIA right now, buying SMCI right now, AMD, companies that have already run a lot this year. Salesforce gave back all of its gains over the past 18 months. Maybe there's an opportunity there, and that opportunity was taken up by the market. Now, Path is up 1%. Path fell to 11.85. Nice little rebound today. At one point, it was up 5%. Right now at 12.19, almost hit $13 today, but fell after the PMI data came out. And now it's rebounding right here back to $12.19. So that's what we're seeing right now in the context of the market. It really was an awesome recovery. I mean, it really, really was an awesome recovery today because, you know, everyone kind of accepted by like 1 p.m. that the market was done and that things were, you know, it was just a crappy day and that it's the last day of the month and we have to accept that the market is bad. But by basically 1 o'clock, things started changing. And I think the reason things started changing because we are in a bull market. And if we're in a bull market, these dips are going to get bought up. June historically is not the best month. However, June actually is not the worst month in a election year. So one of the things that Ryan Dietrich of Carson Group put out, they put out a lot of historical research on the markets, is that when we are in an election year, June historically sucks. I mean, June historically sucks in general, but when we're in an election year, it actually goes green. So this chart you can see right here, stocks historically do well in June during an election year. And this is what it looks like from 1950 to 2023. The average for the S&P is just under 2% gain. In May, we had basically 3.5% if we end out at this level, close to 4% this month for the broader market. So in October during election years and September, the market still tends to sell off. But June, July, August, which is this next upcoming quarter, I mean, it's relatively green. And again, that's historical. That's using 73 years of data to be able to come to that conclusion. If that's the case and June is going to go well, then maybe it's not going to be too bad on the day. I thought it was May that was bad. Yeah, May and June historically are not the best for markets. But again, in election years and when the market is already up for the first 4 months of the year, which is the case in 2024, May ends up being good. If May was up 5% year to date, or sorry, in month to date, then June would be really good, but that's not the case. May is going to end. S&P is going to be basically up 4% year to date. It's not going to be 5%. But the fact is that during an election year, May will still be not that bad. Yeah, month to date. Oh, actually, hold on. Are we about to end above 5%? Are we about to end above 5%? Hold on. Really? Did we recover that well? S&P. Holy crap, guys. We're about to end above 5% on the S&P. Oh my goodness. Look at that past month. Wow, dude, this is like a movie. This is literally a movie. We talked about the data 2 days ago that if the S&P ends up 5% specifically in the month of May, 90% of the time, the rest of the year is positive, another 8%, and that June is positive about 2 to 3%. So now the S&P, I mean, again, and this is not really like, this is not like conspiracy theories or anything. This is just looking at 80 years of historical data, how the market tends to work. A lot of the market ends up just history ends up either repeating or rhyming. So it's just nice to see that it has the momentum. Now, the question is, we have 2 minutes left until the market closes. Will we actually close a positive 5%? I mean, that could go to like 4.95 or 4.8% in the next 2 minutes. So let's see. That's incredible, dude. I didn't think we would get up 5%. Because did anyone think when we were up 3.85% for the month to date, when we were at 518 this morning, almost touching 37 cents away from 517, that we were going to end 5% up month to date? I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought we were going to get hit. So really interesting seeing that the dip got bought. Really, really interesting seeing that the dip got bought. Robinhood right now, $20.89. Palantir also got hit today. They were above 22 for a little bit, now at 21.67. So they fell back down. But they did cross 22 in the morning. Dollar General up another 7%. They had a great earnings. Best Buy, they're up now 14% for the week, up 4%. Foot Locker up another 7%. Also, Gap, I think, is up another 20%. Oh my God. Gap is up another 30%. It was up 30%. It was up 22% yesterday. Wow. That's incredible. Okay, so Gap is doing well. UiPath up 1.4%. S&P 500 again, 526. Shopify 59. GameStop is up 3% or 2.2%. So GameStop's up as well. We got the market close in 45 seconds. MongoDB still down 24%. So MongoDB not getting any love on the dip. Adobe is down today. Datadog is down today. United Airlines is up 3%. American Airlines is up a little bit. They had a rough week. And then IWM small caps are at 205. So they're up today as well. Ginkgo Bioworks, new 52-week low, 52 cents, down 6.3% on the day. That one is getting a little bit of a hit. Nvidia right here, probably going to end down 1%. Wow, the S&P is trying to run to 527 in the last 15 seconds. My goodness. The S&P is running to 527. We were at 518 this morning, or at least by 12 p.m. Absolutely incredible, dude. This is absolutely incredible. 4 p.m. Friday, May 31st. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is now closed. Ending the month green. Ending the month greeny, greeny, green. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? S&P officially ends the month up 5.23%. We still have after hours, but still up up 5.24%. Recovered everything, as Investor Frank says. Recovered everything. I mean, dude, either we are getting set up in a ridiculous bull trap that is just that's just like not real, and like we're all a bunch of schmucks right now, or the data is suggesting, and the data we got this morning, that inflation is coming down. We're not going to be raising rates. Earnings have been phenomenal. 8% on average. The S&P 500 companies beat against estimates. And if that happens again for Q2, which hopefully it does, right, and the consumer continues to stay strong and inflation comes down, the Fed's going to cut rates either by July or September, probably September. And then there you go. That's how we're going to end out this year. Absolutely incredible day for the S&P 500. After hours, the S&P is trying to go to 528. Wow, we just hit 528 after hours. Who bought the dip today? Who bought the dip? Did anyone buy the dip? Put in the chat if you bought the dip on anything. Really curious if anyone bought the dip. Bank of America is at a 52-week high. We haven't checked the banks in a while. Let me check the banks. We haven't checked financials in a bit. Wow, look at the banks. So TD was up 2% today. Barclays up 1%. Nubank down 2%. PNC up 2%. JP Morgan was up 2% today at $200. USB up 3%. TFC up 2%. KRE, the regional banking index, up 1.42%. XLF, up 0.51. And then SoFi here. SoFi was down today. But then Bank of America, yeah, there you go. Bank of America is also up at $40, up 3.62% of the day. This is, I think, 7% or 5% of Warren Buffett's portfolio. So that's a big day for him. What do we have? Someone bought Walmart today. Cash card puts on SoFi and Tesla. Yeah, TJ and I wrote $200,000 worth of cash card puts on Robinhood for a $20 strike, and we got paid $9,500 in premium. So we got basically paid 5% on that $200K for holding it till June 28th. And I think Robinhood will probably do well by June 28th. So nice to see that we got that premium, and we got to write that premium because Robinhood fell from like 22 to 20.30 this morning. We wrote it at about $20.30. So we should already be up on that right now. Speaking of Robinhood, real quick update on Robinhood, then we'll get back to the macro. We did get an update by Vlad Tenev as the day is ending. Robinhood is now past $20 billion. The strike was $20, Matt. The strike was $20. Speaking of the number 20, $20 billion in cash sweep deposits. This is 8x as much as they had when they launched Robinhood Gold less than 2 years ago. They now have 8 billion assets under custody as well for retirement. Now, what does this number really mean? So let me give you some more details on this. This is a pretty big number for Robinhood. Total deposits in cash sweep. And what is cash sweep? That's just the product Robinhood offers that gives you a 5% yield on your money. 95% of that 20 billion is getting 5%. There's like 5% of it that's getting the 1.5% that Robinhood gives to non-gold members. But 95% of it is getting the 5%. And then Robinhood's getting a commission on that 5%. So in April, total number of cash sweep deposits was 19.1 billion. In March, it was 19 billion. So the month-over-month growth from March to April was only $100 million. It was relatively inconsequential. May's cash sweep total is 20 billion, which means they grew from 19.1 billion to 20 billion, which is a 900 million monthly increase in cash sweep total deposits, which is a 9x increase from the previous month-over-month increase of $100 million. That means we can estimate as Robinhood shareholders that the company brought in at least $900 million of deposits. These are just pure net deposits. This isn't assets under custody where prices go up, therefore your AUC goes up. This is pure deposits. So we know they've crossed $1 billion in deposits. Now the question is, can they get to like 3 or 4 billion? Because if last month they had 5 billion, you're looking at another $11 billion deposit quarter, dare I say $12 billion deposit quarter, which is going to be really good for Robinhood. And the fun part is the universal 1% deposit match has not even rolled out. It's not even rolled out. We did get an update on that as well this morning. It will be rolling out in 2 weeks. So if you have $100,000, you will get an extra $1,000 just for putting it into Robinhood. Robinhood confirmed this morning in the next 2 weeks, the 1% deposit boost will officially be rolling out. So if you have your money, I would definitely save it for the next 2 weeks because you'll get an easy 1% putting it into Robinhood. So those were the updates we saw today with Robinhood. Robinhood right now, $20.95 after hours as well. Bitcoin, 67,700. NVIDIA, 1,097. That's climbing after hours as well. S&P 500 at 527. UiPath again at 1225. SoFi, 690 on the day. Snowflake, rough day for Snowflake, down 3.38%. Not sure why Snowflake fell 3.3% today. This one's actually really confusing, guys. Let me know if anyone bought the dip on Snowflake. The reason this is confusing is because Salesforce went up. And so if Snowflake fell because Salesforce fell, oh, wow, look at Salesforce, 7.52% to end the day. It was at 6.8%. So it went up another 0.8% in 2 minutes into the market close. Absolutely incredible day for Salesforce. But if Salesforce was the reason for why Snowflake fell, or at least that was the sort of algorithmic hypothetical hypothesis that people had on why Snowflake was correlated with Salesforce. If Salesforce went up 8%, why did Snowflake go down 3%? Really weird. Like, I mean, just like algorithmically, you would imagine that everyone gets a boost, especially with inflation readings coming in nicely. So weird to see that actually happened. You should talk about Vlad saying the 1% launches in 2 weeks. We talked about that literally 30 seconds ago. So you probably just joined, but yes, we did talk about, if No Stress Invest, I think you're the same user. So No Stress Invest. Yeah, you are. This is the person who got us a response because they've been, let's just say, badgering Robinhood on when this damn 1% deposit is going to come out. So their tweet was the reason for why we got an answer today. And they have $50,000. And so they're going to get $500 for free, essentially, just to put their money into Robinhood. And again, how is this profitable for Robinhood? They make a 2% yield on their assets under custody, so they can give 50% of that away to bring you into the product. One real quick also thing on Robinhood, real quick, and then we'll go back to Snowflake. Why does this matter? Someone said, hey, how long does it take for them to make the money back? And this is what the CFO said on the earnings call. I think I said last quarter that the playbook on the 1% match is a little under a year, and on the 3% match for the Roth IRA, it's between 2 or 3 years. So basically, under 365 days is what it takes for them to make the $1 that they pay you for giving them $100. And that's not a bad customer acquisition cost time period, because the LTV is going to be much larger than 1 year for a customer, especially if they're a sticky customer. And if they're a gold customer and they keep depositing 2x more than the average customer, that LTV is going to be a lot higher than that CAC. So really nice to see that Robinhood's finally getting that to come out. But yeah, the Snowflake thing again was very weird. Very weird. Snowflake up a little bit after hours, down 3.38%. Cannot explain why it's down while the rest of SaaS is having a decent day. Let's actually go to SaaS and see what happened. Palantir again was red, but they had a run this morning. So CrowdStrike was down today. Cloudflare was down today. ServiceNow was up a little bit today. Intuit was up 3% today. MongoDB was down again 24%. Atlassian was down 2%. Salesforce was up. Oracle was slightly up. Confluent was down 6%. Datadog was down 7% or 6.19%. Wow. And then Palantir was down basically flat, 0.28% on the day. Peter Girardi says, wait, I just moved 180K into Robinhood. Are you telling me that I'm not going to get that 1%? That's the whole reason I moved it into the margin percentage rate. You know, I actually don't know the answer to this question. If I was Robinhood, if I would give people the 1% match on deposits within the past month, just like make it easy. But if you don't get it, one easy solution, which is not the easiest, but is just to take the 180 out and then just put it in the next 2 weeks. I know that's not ideal, but then again, that's just how promotions work, right? Like if you're early or late to, like you can't give the promotion to someone who deposited in January and was like, oh, well, if the 1% was coming, I would have never deposited. It's like, that's not how, business works. So yeah, if I were them, I would give the 1% to anyone who deposited money. Like I put in like $5,000 over the past month. I would love an extra $50 on that, right? But if not, you might just have to take it out and then put it back in, which is what people would do. So that's what we saw today on the market. Again, for those that are just joining, market fell during the day and then it recovered. Let me know if anyone bought the dip. I saw a bunch of people in the chat saying they bought Salesforce. I also asked on Twitter, a lot of people said they bought Salesforce. And so I guess if you bought Salesforce at the 220 level, you got a little bit of a dip, which was not bad. Political update. Trump had some words to say about the election, but this was Joe Biden's response, or not the election, the guilty verdict. This was Joe Biden's response about Trump claiming he is a political prisoner. Here's 30 seconds with Biden.
Time for this war to end, for the day after to begin. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot, sir?
Okay, so I'm not going to lie. That was a little creepy. I'm just like, again, I'm not being political here. I'm just saying that was a little weird, the smile without a real response. But that was Biden's response today. I think it was important to show that's the argument he made against Trump. I'm pretty sure he'll have a more formal response eventually, but today that was his response. Now, Trump had like a 40-minute press conference, and basically the result of the press conference was that like I'm innocent, right? So Trump basically gave a campaign speech. Oh, by the way, he raised $35 million in 24 hours for the campaign speech, or for the guilty verdict, or as a result of the guilty verdict. So the Trump campaign raised a lot of money. It was definitely good for them. DJT actually was up on the day, then it went down, then it kind of went back up, then it went back down. DJT ended the day down 5%. So didn't have the best day for DJT, but the actual campaign did end up raising money, which was one of the things that they wanted to see as a result of if they were going to end up being guilty. So that's one of the things we got on DJT. Now, another piece of news we had in the context of Google. Let me pull this up. This is actually about their AI search. Is Google red today? Google is slightly green. So Google rolled back some of their AI search features. Want to show you guys that. And then after that, we're going to call Steve and we'll get his thoughts on what's going on in the markets. But let's just pull that up real quick for an update on Google, and then we will go from there.
Google is doing damage control for yet another AI product. It's now scaling back that new search tool it just unveiled a few weeks ago after users reported getting questionable and sometimes downright bizarre results. Deirdre Bosa has the story for today's Tech Check. Deirdre?
Kelly, some of those questionable, bizarre results centered around the AI overview telling users that you can eat a certain amount of rocks a day for your health. It's healthy to do so. Another one was suggesting using glue to thicken your pizza sauce. These things were clearly ill-advised. They were wrong. And now Google is sort of setting the record straight, explaining to users in a blog post why the algorithm did so and what they're doing to change it. They've made over a dozen technical changes, and the new head of search, Liz Reed, wrote that they tested the AI overviews before they rolled it out more widely, but she said there's nothing quite like having millions of people using the feature with many novel searches. So it does raise a question, how does this happen? Well, in the case of eating rocks, it actually goes back to an Onion article that a geological software provider reposted on its site. So the algorithm still has trouble sorting between social media posts and what is more credible. And that's really the takeaway here, is that what you see in generative AI for the companies building large language models like a Google, like an OpenAI, you're seeing a lot more deals happen between them and publishers or media outlets. There was OpenAI yesterday announcing 2 deals, one with The Atlantic, one with Vox Media. You're going to get a different kind of large language model with different levels of credibility.
And OpenAI and Google both partnered with Reddit. So it looks like the media companies that create really good content are going to get paid by the tech companies.
Whether you're taking from The Atlantic or you're taking from Reddit social media threads. So that's what the industry is really trying to figure out now. And in the meantime, there's going to be mistakes made. But again, this is another setback for Google. Remember, it's Gemini image generator. It had to do a lot more damage control for that incident. But what we can also take away from this is that Google is moving faster. They were criticized after ChatGPT came out for moving too slowly. Now they're moving faster and they're willing to make more mistakes.
I always like to bring him up, Dee, but when I thought Ben Thompson really distilled it nicely.
So interesting stuff. I heard a lot of people showing screenshots of like asking questions, like really funny questions. Like someone said, as Google's AI, like how many R's are there in strawberry? And it said 2. And for a second I was like, oh, that's right. And then I realized, no, there's 3 because like the R and the straw. But like, so obviously it's experimenting. And then you got even wilder kind of stuff that Google's been saying. And as June said in the chat, it's trying to be creative. And there's a lot of trial and error to get to that point. But once they figure it out from OpenAI's perspective or Google's perspective, it's likely going to be a product that I think a lot of people use. And as a result of that, the market continues to buy up Google. Okay, let's get Steve on the phone and get his thoughts on what's going on in the market. He wrote a Seeking Alpha article today about Salesforce. So let's see why he thinks Salesforce is an obvious buy the dip and see what he has to say as well. Hello, Stephen Fiorillo. You are with me and 828 people on the market close. Thank you for being here.
Look at you, 828 people.
So, Steve, you texted me last night and you said, "Hey, Salesforce, 6.1 billion in free cash flow." You were basically asking me, "Hey, Amit, is it a buy the dip?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know because it's down a lot." And you end up writing an article and the stock's up 7%. So, how did your article pump this stock up 7% on the day?
First off, I told you it's a buy the dip and asked you what you thought.
I love. Hold on. I love how you have to clarify. I love how you have to clarify that you know you're so confident that you weren't asking me, you were telling me what you were gonna do.
I was asking you what you think, but I said to buy.
Okay, so why did your article pump it up?
It didn't. It's just, it's hilarious that right after it hit Seeking Alpha, it started going up. It's hilarious.
As I'm saying, dude, your article pumped the stock. I'm trying to tell you, that's what happened.
I don't know. I was in meetings all day. I watched it early in the morning when I was having coffee, and I'm like, oh, it's still going down. All right, maybe I'll check back on Monday or Tuesday. But I looked this afternoon. I'm like, damn it! Look how much it went up.
So, okay, let's get into the crux of the article. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Everyone, please make sure to check it out and support the article from Steve. What was kind of, I mean, you wrote this in 24 hours or 48 hours. So what was your thesis?
I wrote it last night. I went through the earnings call and I went through the quarterly report. I'm like, the market's wrong. Like, they are legitimately wrong on this, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm at the part of the article where you say why I'm interested in Salesforce and why I think the market is wrong. So the first part of your article is that more than 90% of Fortune 500 companies are Salesforce customers. So there's two parts to this. Number one, that's bullish, but my follow-up to that statement is, doesn't that mean Salesforce is getting a bit saturated in the enterprise? How do you kind of resolve that?
No, not really, because once you get embedded in an enterprise software platform, it is very hard to leave. And what Salesforce does is much different than what SAP or Oracle or Workday does. I mean, they are true ERP systems. Salesforce is a customer system that helps with marketing, record retention, and really streamlines efficiencies with campaigns and all that stuff. I mean, it is what every major organization uses to compile data on their clients. And there's no better software than it for that.
Okay,
and they
so
keep making major improvements in it.
So why did the market sell it off? Why do you think there was a sell-off?
I think that we're getting back to growth at all costs, and they looked at Salesforce top line only going to grow at 8 or 9% this year, and they didn't like it. And if you go back, I gotta find it. There's an article I wrote about Amazon in 2021 when I was like, the market is 100% wrong on Amazon. And this is something that I can't stand, that sometimes analysts come up with
Steve, we lost you. It's definitely his service. It's not mine this time. Yeah, it's definitely him. I'm good. Okay, we're going to call him back. This is his article right there. Again, I'll put it in the chat, or you guys can see it right here. There you go. Yeah, you're back.
Oh, okay. So, I think that they didn't like the single-digit growth for top-line revenue. But if you look at what they're projecting for the next couple of years, they're projecting double-digit EPS growth. They'll find either organic or inorganic ways to grow. They're a company that has $9 billion in debt, but they have $17 billion in cash on hand and short-term investments, with another $4 or $5 billion in long-term strategic investments. And they have another, 15, 16 billion authorized for buybacks. And I'm sure, I would like to think that Benioff was buying the stock today with it down so much, and that's what made the market pump. And
Benioff sold a lot in the 270s. I mean, just for context.
Yeah, but that's what he does and what the company does are two different things.
No, I agree. I don't think he's outright buying the stock at all, in my opinion.
And when you look at the capital allocation, this is a company that their cash from operations is projected to grow. I think it's 21 to 24% this year over year. I mean, I'm driving. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But I think if you use their CapEx from last year, they're projected to generate 11.5 or 12 billion free cash flow this year.
Right.
That was more than, or it was less than 20 times free cash flow last night, because the market cap was 199 billion. I mean, that's really a value company under 20 times free cash flow. And you have a lot of things you can do with that money, because they only have $1 billion in debt maturing over the next year. You got $9 billion in straight cash, so they can cover their debt maturities. There's only another $8.2 billion in long-term debt. They just started paying a dividend. They're going to pay out $1.60 a share, and I think they paid like $370 million last quarter in dividends. So 1.5 billion in free cash flow gets eaten up from the dividend, but there's a lot that they can do with buybacks to increase EPS even further.
Okay, so let
they
me
can make
Steve,
acquisitions.
let me ask you this question. Then we'll talk about acquisitions in a second. You're comparing Salesforce to Adobe, SAP, and Intuit in your article. What was the reason to compare those?
Because those are the four biggest enterprise software companies in the market.
Okay, so Salesforce as of yesterday at 218 was at a 2024 PE of 21, which was the lowest. 2025 PE of 19, which was the lowest, and 2026 PE of 17, which is the lowest.
Yeah, I mean, it was trading at really attractive valuations for a company that's still growing. I mean, they're still growing. Their top line may not be as much as what people want, but the facts are it's still growing, and we haven't even seen the AI effects of what Salesforce is going to be able to do with AI throughout their platform.
Okay,
And
so
how they're going to be able to create value. So, I mean,
let's
it's,
talk about that. Where is the AI applications for Salesforce, or did you not get to that much research yet about that?
yeah, I don't really know where the AI applications for Salesforce is because I don't personally use the product. But across what I understand from the actual software, it's going to streamline a lot of efficiencies with marketing campaigns and eval campaigns. And they also have other products embedded in it. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do, especially with all their large scale enterprise customers.
If the market comes to the conclusion that there's not an AI offering that's sophisticated enough in Salesforce to grow earnings, do you think that's a risk to the valuation and the bump today?
I mean, it's certainly a risk to the narrative, but I don't think it's a risk to the numbers. I mean, nobody's really looking at Salesforce as an AI play right now, and the numbers are still growing. I mean, and that's when you look at what are you getting when you purchase the stock. You're getting a balance sheet that's healthy. This is a cash-rich company. It's not levered. You're getting a company that is generating over $30 billion of revenue, and a company that's generating over $10 billion in free cash flow that is still growing on the top and bottom line. So
That's fair. That's fair. That's a fair thesis. It's a very fair thesis.
It was a value play last night is really what it was. And it kind of still is. I got to see where the market cap settles today. And
It's at
maybe it sells off on
227.
Monday.
It's at 227 right now, market cap.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that puts the market cap at like 225 or so. I'm not sure. But
So you bought
it's still relatively inexpensive.
100,000 shares last night, correct?
I did not buy anything.
Wait, you didn't even buy it?
No, I looked. I put in the article that I'm very interested in buying, and I was going to see where it settles out. And it never settled out. It just went down a little bit today and then popped while I was not in front of a computer.
Okay, well that's
Like I looked at it at 9:30 to see what it was doing, and it just started dropping. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait a little bit. And then next time I looked, it was up. So I'm gonna see what happens next week.
okay. No, but I think that's a fair thesis. That's a very, very fair thesis. And yeah, 218, if it's trading at 21 times forward earnings against the other forward names, I didn't even notice that. That is kind of cheap, especially if it doesn't need to be an AI play. It's still
Yeah, it
relatively
doesn't
cheap.
need to be an AI play. Another thing is Salesforce can manufacture earnings. So those projections could be light considering the amount of buybacks that they can do over
Correct.
the next 2-3 years.
Correct. Yep.
Because they don't have to, this isn't Verizon or an AT&T that has to allocate $5 or $10 billion a year to debt maturities. That's the big difference here. So what do they do with their cash? They start paying a dividend because they're cash rich. They're doing buybacks because they're cash rich. They're in a position where they can acquire a company. They can increase. I think this is going to be, from a long-term perspective, this is going to be a dividend growth company. And, it's interesting because when you start getting into that aspect, you may get some investors coming in that say, I get exposure to tech. This could be a dividend growth company. This is interesting. So you may get a couple of different types of investors starting to look at Salesforce.
Okay, some other questions. We got some comments about Amazon in the chat. I haven't looked at Amazon honestly in a couple days, and I'm looking at it right now. I don't know if you looked at it, but this sucker is at 176 and it got to
Yeah,
one.
so it went down a little. I don't care. It's something that I'm probably never going to sell. So.
Why is Amazon not moving with the rest of the Mag 7 over the past 2 months? What's going on here?
Look how much it's up. I don't know if that's a fair statement.
I mean, it's up 17% year to date, which is obviously not bad, but like the other stocks are kind of breaking out a little bit in the Mag 7 versus Amazon. It has not broken its all-time high. It touched it on earnings, then it fell. Do you think there's any concern the market has? By the way, Jefferies upgraded them to 225 off the growth in advertising. So the street's bullish, but why do you think the stock's not reacting?
I don't know. I mean, I think that their margins are going to improve as inflation comes down. And if oil comes down, look, if inflation and oil come down, you'll see their margins improve significantly. And for them, significantly is like 1% or 2% because of how expensive it is for them to run their business. But the bottom line is that even a 1 or 2% margin increase could be billions or tens of billions of dollars.
Right.
You know, they have the largest logistical network behind the DoD, and it's a very cash-intensive business to run. But yeah, I think as oil comes down, it's going to be easier for them. I think as inflation comes down and costs come down, it's going to be easier for them. And this is a company that's going to continue to expand their offerings with AWS. The last thing I want, and I know one of our friends disagrees with me on this, but the last thing I want is for them to spin out AWS. That would be the worst thing that they did.
Oh, that same friend wanted Palantir to split up the government and commercial business.
Exactly. 2 worst things these companies could do.
So 2 things on Amazon, then I want to move on to a different stock. Their operating income is up from 8% to 10%, which is the highest since 2021. And number 2, or the margins on that. Number 2 is, I forgot the second thing I was going to say, but it was going to be something bullish around Amazon. But yeah, I do think Amazon is not one of the worst buy the dip opportunities here. What I was going to say is AWS is a $100 billion TTM run rate business now, which is insane.
Well, my dark horse, Apple services will be $100 billion run rate next year.
Okay, we'll talk about Apple in a second.
But,
every time you come on the show, you got to bring up that. We'll talk about the Apple.
I
okay?
do because it's up.
But Amazon, yeah, I think it's a good buy right now. I don't think it's a horrible.
I'll tell you, Alphabet's the one to still get. I think
Alphabet's the one to still what?
Still get. I think Alphabet's the one.
Well, the political advertising you think is the catalyst, right?
It's going to be huge, even more huge now.
Hey, Steve, what do you think about Trump being guilty?
No comment.
You don't want to repeat anything you said to me on the phone today about
the political advertising is going to be huge for Meta, for Alphabet, and maybe even for Amazon or companies like that. But definitely Meta and Alphabet are going to really do well on the advertising this year, which is not necessarily a great thing because it may make this year earnings spike and then next year kind of subside a little bit. I just think that we're going to be in a ridiculous cycle in the second half of the year with advertising spending.
So someone said in the comment, here's a question they had. Unfortunately, I bought Nvidia at the top, 32 shares at 11.48. Am I screwed? Do you think they're screwed for buying 32 shares at 11.48?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard because in the dot-com bubble, Cisco was actually making money. They were actually making billions of dollars of profits and I think tens of billions of dollars in revenue. And that stock has never gotten back to where it was in 2000, 24 years later after, generating multiples on both net income, free cash flow, and revenue. So, to say that can't happen again it's happened.
Steve, that's not happening again with Nvidia. Like we know it, dude. They're about to do 28 billion next quarter. They're about to split 10. Like this is not Cisco by any sense of the imagination.
Yeah, I think that Nvidia's got at least another year or two of run rate. But as I said to you before, I would be cautious next year because all these data centers are spending such a massive amount of capital to build out this infrastructure. They're going to have to curtail that and they're going to have to monetize these assets. And it's going to take years for them to depreciate the assets and generate the profits off of these assets before they start another upgrade cycle. I think that I said this to you the other week. I think Intel's a play. I think HP's a play. And I think that we have two big catalysts in computers. You have a Windows upgrade cycle that nobody's talking about because October 2025, when Microsoft is no longer supporting Windows 10. That means no more security updates and no more patches. Everybody's going to have to upgrade the same way they had to upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10. That's going to happen next year, Windows 10 to Windows 11. Then when these companies start making AI chips, that's going to be another big upgrade cycle. And they're either going to clash or they're going to be one after the other. And it could be a multi-year cycle for these companies. And Intel may end up having a last laugh because they may ride that chip fabrication higher while they are building out their foundry offerings. And then by the time those upgrade cycles are done, they'll be generating the revenue from the foundries. So Intel's something that I'm seriously looking at again.
Question for you here. So one of the analysts on the Dell earnings call said, this was this question to Dell. So really the only thing that changed this quarter was that you added 1.7 billion in AI servers, but your operating profit was flat. So does that suggest the operating margins for AI servers were effectively zero? Which is a pretty tough question, right?
Yeah, I didn't go through I don't follow them, so I'm not really sure. I'd have to really read through it.
Any raw reaction on Dell spiking to 180 as the proxy and then coming back today at 140?
No. I mean, look, it's not something I follow, but I'm not shocked because at the end of the day, you're going to have big cycles, and Dell is an infrastructure play also. They don't just do regular computers, and there's upgrade cycles all across the board. They're very big in the server business also.
Well, that's my point. No, their server backlog grew 30%. They're growing 100% year over year on server deliveries. That's amazing, but the operating margins are 0% right now, which is...
Yeah, I am more familiar with HP than Dell, so I'd have to look at the numbers.
Could HP have a Dell type of move on servers? Is that possible?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I thought HP was pretty undervalued last time I looked at them.
Hewlett Packard over the past year, it's up about 40%, I think. Yeah, it was at $13 in March. All right, I think they have earnings next week as well.
I think you're going to see a big upgrade cycle that Hewlett Packard's going to benefit from next year. I really do.
Okay, SoFi below $7 for the second week in a row. Right now, it's at $6.91. What are your current thoughts on SoFi?
It can stay there for the next year or two. I don't care.
Why don't you care?
I mean, I'm holding it. I believe in it, and whether it goes to 6 or whether it goes to 8 or whether it goes to 10 doesn't impact me. Like I am in it for the long haul. I'll just buy more.
So why? So that's the logic. That's the heart of my question. Why are you ready to just buy more at whatever prices?
Well, because I am going by the numbers, and until they miss, and it looks like people don't want to use the product and their member growth declines, I'm not going to pay any attention to the bear case because it's just simply not true.
Okay.
I mean, what's the bear case? Other than price and it being down. Other than that, what's the actual bear case from an operating perspective? They're hitting the metrics that they're saying. They're growing the way that they're saying.
Yeah.
They have not given us any reason to doubt them. So other than price action, there's not a single thing on the bear case that has come true.
Okay. Well, that is fair. Palantir just got a $500 million contract.
I almost bought more too today.
It dipped today from 22.
I know. I said I'm going to wait till Monday.
So what was your reaction to that contract? Even if you don't know the details of it, 500 million on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about it. I don't think there's anybody that can compete with them at this point. I really don't. If there was, there would be a clear competitor. If there was, Oracle wouldn't have partnered with Palantir, Amazon and Microsoft wouldn't have partnered with them, and then somebody else would have gotten IL6 clearance. When you look at how much the government officials want to spend on AI and want to spend on defense, Schumer is trying to push another $32 billion of AI spending.
Yep.
I mean, we know that this is going to be software driven. Nobody's competing with Palantir. Nobody wants to get into that business. And I got news for everybody. Pretty hard to work with the military. Not easy.
Well, it was pretty astonishing to me that every SaaS name was red and Palantir was green yesterday. I mean, to me, it just showed and they were green because they got a $500 million from the government. But it's like, how many companies can get $500 million from the government on a Wednesday?
Yeah, not many.
Not many. That's correct.
Not many. And they're going to keep getting more contracts. And look, if Project Maven goes well, and you're going to see a lot more vehicles. I mean, we're going to see a huge upgrade cycle in the military also.
Tesla. Have you been buying Tesla stock?
It's on my buy list. I think the last time I bought it was 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Okay. How are you currently feeling on the state of the company? I mean, it's down 30% year to date.
I don't know.
It rebounded from 140 to 178, which is good. Elon is being Elon. How do you feel about Tesla?
And you know what the problem is? I really did, and look, I'm still in it for the buy. That's really the main reason I'm in it. The other reason was because of what they may be able to do with AI and full self-driving, because they really may be able to license that to Ford or GM and these other companies. So I think that there's a lot of residual revenue and earnings that they can generate. But it worries me that this guy is managing so many other companies. And I thought the whole part of this vote was to give him 25% share ownership so he would build all this stuff within Tesla. The fact that he's creating another company to do the AI stuff, it's not really clear how Tesla shareholders are going to benefit or what he's going to do in Tesla and what he's not.
So you don't like that he raised $6 billion for a new company?
No, I mean, I think that's fine if he didn't say that he was going to build the AI stuff with Tesla. Like, if he played out, if he gets the vote to go his way, he gets 25% ownership. Does XAI roll into Tesla, or does it stay a separate company? Because originally the threat was, if you don't give me 25%, I won't feel comfortable building this stuff at Tesla. But if he gets the 25%, I don't see how he's going to do XAI and AI at Tesla. I just think it's conflict.
It is interesting because it seems like he raised the $6 billion. There's two ways to take it. Either he really thinks OpenAI is evil and he wants to hedge against them, or it's a backup plan in case shit
It's his
goes south.
backup plan. I'm hoping it's his backup plan.
I guess we'll see.
But it's, as a shareholder, it's not a good feeling that the guy that because this company would not be something that's investable at this valuation without him.
Why?
I mean, I think everybody can agree on that.
Why?
Do you think anybody is going to have the confidence to do what he does and to leapfrog what is logically feasible and get things done the way that he does? I mean, I don't know of any other CEOs that are sleeping on the factory floor trying to get things done.
So I personally don't, but there's some heavy shareholders voting no on that package.
Well, they're not the brightest people in the room then, because they are voting for them to get screwed. Because if this doesn't go through and Elon says, you know what, I don't really care about money that much, I can always make more money, see ya. I mean, Tesla goes to 40.
I agree. That's probably goes lower than 40, dude. I mean, it goes to shit.
I'm trying to be, conservative with that. What's the difference between Tesla and Ford at that point? Because then you got to question, are bots even going to come out? Then you got to question, are they actually going to make the progress on that best day? Then you got to question a lot of things if he's not as invested as he is right now in the company.
So let me ask you this question, and this is not a political question. This is a business strategy question. Elon has been rumored to be working with Trump to potentially create some type of a presidential agenda, probably helping with EVs, AI regulation, etc. Do you think it's smart for him to embrace?
No, he should be apolitical.
Huh. So you don't like that he might have the ear of the next potential president? Because I think that's actually a good thing.
But there's no guarantee he's going to win.
Yeah, but if he does, then he has the ear of the guy.
Okay. Yeah, but that's a 50-50 shot. You're betting that this guy is going to win and you're going to have influence. If he wins, it pays off. But if he doesn't win, he's screwed.
Why is it screwed?
It's not a good... Because of the way that it looks. I mean, he's already alienating himself. He's just alienating himself even more, and he's placing all of his chips on a bet that may not come to fruition. Look what Jordan said when people used to ask him to speak up and stuff. And he was like, No, everybody buys sneakers.
So let me
stayed out of it.
let me hold on. Let me push back a little bit. Lee Allison has a good comment in the chat. Karp is very political. So why do you like Karp being political but not Elon? Gotcha.
No, not really, because it's two different situations.
No, you're right. I know you're right. Karp's political to win contracts. I mean, yeah, obviously, right? He has to.
Karp says Karp is ideological, and he is of a very singular mindset. But a lot of people that think like him want nothing to do with the military. He's very unique. It is a much different situation. He's not out there criticizing certain things and alienating certain people. He's also not antagonizing certain people.
Well, when you call the college protesters a cancer to society, I mean, he's definitely isolating certain viewpoints. But I think he's going to win the NATO contract. He's going to win the Israel contract. So he doesn't care. You know, it is a directionally proportional benefit for him to be political. Whereas Elon, everyone buys a car, Democrat or Republican, right?
Everybody buys a car the same way everybody buys sneakers.
Apple. Why should I not be getting my potassium? Why do you want me to be getting an Apple?
I mean, the bottom line is that I've been correct. And I think I'm
Steve, the stock is up like 1% year to date. I wouldn't call that correct. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
you know the thesis on it, and they're going to be the dark horse. Apple can outspend everybody. They can get the best talent, and they're never first to the dance, but they always finish in first place.
So let me ask you this. Sam Altman potentially working with Apple to put GPT into the iOS 18 WWDC in 2 weeks. We're going to see what they unveil.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with Tim Cook letting Sam Altman have access to 2.5 billion iOS devices?
I mean, we don't have a choice, so what does it matter?
Sundar is a very easy choice. He's the brown guy down the street.
Yeah, but I'm never getting an Android phone, so it doesn't matter.
No. I mean, using Gemini to power iOS 18. It looks like they're going with GPT over Gemini, or at least that's what the reports are.
I don't care either way, to be honest with you. I mean, why does it matter if one company has the data than the other company?
Well, so the reason I'm asking is because there was a board member who came out on a podcast this week and said the reason we fired Sam in November was because he was
that he lied. They didn't find out that ChatGPT was going to launch until they looked at Twitter, blah, 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 blah.
Hold on. Before you say blah, 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 two high-level research scientists left last week. They went to Anthropic, and they had very large Twitter threads about safety. And Ilya, the co-founder, left. So is there something going on with Sam that you don't think Tim Cook's going to have any issue with just giving him that much power to the iPhone?
There may be. Who knows?
I mean, that's a big deal, Steve.
The genie's out of the box, though. You can't put it back in.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, we're not going backwards on AI. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We just got to accept it. But you can't put this genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, but also there is an argument around safe AI that Elon's touting for years, and it looks like Sam.
Yeah, but if one company does safe AI and another company doesn't, what's the point?
Well, the point is one of the company that doesn't do safe AI should not win. That's the point. Like,
we can't control that.
No,
Okay.
Tim Cook absolutely can control that. He can say, no, Sam Altman, you're not allowed to have access to 2.5 billion devices. Like,
I am saying that you and I cannot control that.
well, you're a shareholder of Apple. You can absolutely control that with your shares, either sell them or, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Yes, because Tim Cook cares about the shares I own.
you have a $50 million stake. I'm sure he cares about. Okay, so do you think they announced anything about Vision Pro at WWDC?
I think it's going to be all about Siri. I think it's going to be about things that they're going to do with AI on the next iPhone cycle. And I think it's going to be more toward Siri actually being the world's best assistant. I think that's going to be the focus.
So if it's a year since the first Vision Pro and they don't do anything a year later, can we effectively say it's done? It's dead?
No, it's not done. It's the wave of the future. I told you, it needs 5 years and 2 new versions.
So when is
New
the next
version 3 or 4.
Apple event going to be then, in your estimations, for Vision Pro 2? When do you think they're going to launch that event?
I would hope next year that they reduce it by 50%. And I really think you need 3 or 4 versions to get it down to that $7.99 price point and make it like a pair of Ray-Bans.
Okay. Well,
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
I mean, look, the stock's at 192. So yes, you have been right. If WWDC hits, this sucker's probably going to 200 easily, right? And so yeah, I guess we'll see. And they're doing $100 billion of buybacks. That's non-avoidable. So
They're going to manufacture earnings, no matter what anybody thinks. That is real money. Every share they buy back is less than dividends that they are paying out because there's less shares, and it increases EPS per share as long as revenue and margins stay the same. So buybacks are critical to Apple. They also have other verticals that they can go, and they're going to be in the AI game. To think that they're not going to be in the AI game is crazy. It's just one of those things where I think the Vision Pro needs a couple of years. I do think that Apple should hold buybacks for 1 quarter or 2 quarters and buy a ton of content and buy Warner Brothers Discovery tomorrow. That's the clearest thing that Apple should do. Just buy it. It's like 2 weeks. It's like 2 or 3 weeks of buybacks. Just buy it.
let me ask you, Steve.
And
Right. Let me ask you real quick about banks. Why is Bank of America at a all-time high right now at $40?
oh no, I haven't been following it.
But you own a lot of banks, don't you?
Yeah, but
Like,
they're banks.
But why
They
are
just-
banks
they
doing
just sit
well
there.
right now?
I don't know. I haven't been following the banks.
Okay.
The only bank I really went through the earnings was Citibank.
Got it. Okay, so ultimately, you think Apple needs to do some acquisitions. Vision Pro will eventually evolve, and that the iPhone is going to be a rock star.
I think that they need content. I mean, look, you buy Warner Brothers Discovery, you buy a couple of sports teams, and you make it all proprietary to Apple TV through Apple services. Take those off the table, you take those off of cable TV, and you put people to a decision. Also, you hurt Netflix and Amazon from a content perspective because now you just completely beefed up Apple TV, and you got a production studio. You can now make all your Apple content through Warner Brothers Studio. I mean, it's a perfect play for that.
It's a no-brainer, but they don't do acquisitions, dude. I agree, you're right, but they just don't spend money like that on media.
Yeah, and this is, I think that they are. It's weird that they're not willing to do this. I can understand not wanting to buy a software company or not wanting to buy a chip manufacturer, but this is content. It's plug and play. You take HBO Max down and you just throw all that content on Apple TV. And then you have a studio to make, I mean, they're making content. They make their own TV shows. You can now produce them right through Warner Studio. It just doesn't make sense why they don't do it, considering the amount of EBITDA it would put into the company. I mean, they can absorb the debt from the deal very easily, and it would really impact Netflix and Amazon and Paramount. I mean, you do that and you buy 2 soccer teams, you buy a baseball team, you take those off of network TV. Now you hurt Comcast, you hurt everybody, and you win. And it's a great play for the Vision Pro down the road because now you have VR cameras in all the arenas, every concert, every WWE event, every baseball game, all on Apple services in 3D.
Okay, let me ask you the last question, Steve, and then I'll get you out of here. The S&P 500 fell 2% today, then it recovered, ending the month up 5% year to date, which is pretty damn incredible. Or sorry, not 5%, month to date. It's at 527.73. At one point, it was 518 today. Why do you think the market bought the dip leading into the end of the month on a Friday?
Is there ever a bad time if you're a long-term investor to buy the S&P? That's one. Here's 2. What day is today?
May 31st.
Okay, what happens on May 31st? What happens on the last day of every month?
Rebalancing.
No. What happens on the last day of every month and the 15th or 16th of every month?
People get paid.
Exactly. What happens when people get paid?
Well, I know you buy cocaine and hookers, but other people.
Money
yes,
goes into 401ks.
that's fair.
And what's some of the largest holdings in 401ks?
The S&P.
S&P 500 funds and total market funds.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of buying today because a lot of people get paid on the 30th because not every month has 31 days. And some places get paid on Thursdays, et cetera, et cetera. So there's probably a lot of buying right now from just automatic bonds for funds for retirement.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it was pretty damn incredible, dude. I thought the S&P was not going to end up 5% month to date, and then boom, right at the close, just ramps up and people end up buying. Okay, so that's pretty much it for us. So what are you doing on the weekend? Are you going anywhere?
Writing.
Just writing articles?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. I hope you have a good day. Are you getting any like fancy dinner? Are you going out anywhere?
Yet to be determined. I don't know.
What'd you say?
I said yet to be determined.
Oh, yet to be determined. Okay.
Hopefully everybody likes the article, and if you're interested in reading it, leave a comment. I'll respond.
Yeah, I'll put the article again in the chat. And one last question for you, Steve. Did you buy any Pokemon over the past 2 weeks or no?
2 weeks? No. Month? Yes.
Okay, so you're actively in the market for Pokemon.
Of course.
Okay, just making sure. If I get any deals, I will send them your way.
I told you that if you have a long-term horizon, boxes have outpaced the performance of the S&P over a long term.
That is true. You did say that.
So, I mean, I showed you the math behind it. It is quite crazy, and they are the largest media franchise in history. Over $90 billion they've generated. They are bigger than every media franchise.
Yeah. Oh, real quick before you leave, Path. Any thoughts on that one?
What's Path?
It's a stock that fell 30%, and everyone in the chat is trying to figure out if we should buy the stupid dip or not.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, Kathy bought like 1 million shares yesterday, and she had a lot of it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good weekend. We'll talk later.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. That is it. I think we're having Palantir Weekly tonight. If I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure we're having Palantir Weekly tonight. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure everyone's still ready to go. So if anything, me and Arnie will do Palantir Weekly, and we'll keep it going from there. So I'll see you guys at 11 p.m. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Mitchell says, "Do you think Palantir gets into the S&P 500?" I don't think that happens at all. I know a lot of people have been asking. I don't think it's I think something like that doesn't stay quiet. We would have heard a leak by now if we got in. And I feel like that's the reason we're not getting in. Number two, our institutional holdings are the lowest in all of the S&P 500 at 40%. And number three, the S&P 500 is heavy on software, and I don't know if they're going to let another software name in. Now, I could be wrong on all three of those reasons, and Palantir gets in, and that would be amazing. But I don't think that's going to happen. So if it doesn't, then by December, I think we get it, or early 2025. The point is, it's going to happen. It's inevitable, but we'll see when it happens. Could you go over your schedule next week? I cannot, because then I would be giving away what I'm doing in California, and I can't give that away legally, literally. So you guys will find out. You guys will find out next week. And I think you guys, dude, I think you guys are going to be shocked. You guys are just going to be like, what the fuck is this? It's worth missing a couple market open streams. It's, I would say it's life-changing to an extent. I would definitely say it's life-changing. And I don't think that's I don't think that's overhyping it at all. I'm going to California on my dime, right? I'm spending my money on flights and Airbnbs and all that stuff. So not getting flown out or anything. But it's worth the investment for me from a monetary perspective. And then I hate missing the show. You guys know I fucking hate missing the show. I was rusty on Tuesday because we missed Monday, and I didn't even like. I just didn't like the flow of it because I felt like I was rusty. But this is one of those things where you gotta miss some streams to do this thing. For the show schedule. Okay, so morning open is not happening on Monday or close. Tuesday, the close probably will happen, I believe, if I'm not passed out from the flight. And then Wednesday, it definitely will happen on the open, not the close. Thursday, it won't happen on either. And then Friday, maybe the open happens. So it's going to be a really choppy week. If I'm live, I'm live. But if not, then I won't be. Palantir Weekly is 11 p.m. 11 p.m. EST. All right, cool. So that's pretty much it. No TV show for me Monday morning. Yeah, you guys are going to have to watch me, Kevin, dude. You're going to have to watch. You're going to have to sit through a couple of the coupon code promotions and just deal with it. And it is what it is. Will you be tweeting Monday and Tuesday? Yes, I should be tweeting. I don't know if what I'm doing is going to stop me from tweeting, but it might not be as aggressive. So yeah, the next week's going to just be a busy week. But we'll be back and it'll be fun. It's going to be a cool week, dude. It'll be super cool. I didn't look at Centennial yet. I'll look at it over the weekend. I'll look at it on the flight, actually. I have a couple of... I'm going to look at Path on the flight. I'm going to look at Rivian on the flight. I'm going to look at Centennial on the flight. And then I'll give you guys some updates, but I had no updates on that. 11 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. It's like an hour on Friday. Tonight. I'm going to put an old market open on. Dude, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I can't even say where in Cali. I can't say that yet. I can't say that. I can't say if it's North Cal, South Cal yet. But it will be in the beautiful state of California. I've been to California many times. When's the last time? Well, I went to California in January for the Meet Kevin thing. But I haven't been to California in years, like as an actual like spending time in California. And so this week I'll actually be spending some time there. And it'll be fun. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, last time I came was January. Who's in California? Put in the chat if you live in California. I know June is in San Diego, but put in the chat if you're actually in California. The one thing I hate about California is the 3-hour difference on a financial perspective, but from the stock market. But what I was thinking about is if you did live in California, your finance workday would be done by 1 p.m. if you cover the markets, which is kind of nice to be done by 1 p.m. and then have the rest of the day to do what you want. If you're covering the markets from like, it would be like 5:30 to 1 p.m. It's actually nice versus like 9 to 4:30. It's not the worst thing ever, but I think it would be annoying because like, how do you cover the market close eating lunch, dude? Like, how do you talk about the market close while you're eating your lunch? That's like so weird. It feels like just not the right time to do that. What is your background? I'm Indian. If that's the question that you're asking. Amit, will you buy me the iPhone 16 if Palantir gets the 30 by September? I would say yes, but I'm pretty sure not pretty sure. Let me not say that. I think Palantir could get to 30 by September. If they have a rock star Q2 and rates get cut, dude, we could push 30. It's going to be hard. I mean, if we can at least stay at 24 by the end of the year, which would be a 50% year to date move, right? Right now we're still up 25%. So another 25% is asking for a lot, but to do 30, I don't think is crazy. It is possible though. It is possible. Okay, we got a bunch of people in Cali. We got a bunch of people. Mario in Los Angeles, Jesse in Chula Vista, California, Claudina in California, North Cal. We have, am I moving to California? No, I'm not going to see Figure. By the way, I think Brett did a podcast today with My First Million. So he did some podcast. I haven't watched it. But no, it's not going to see Brett. Yeah, we got a bunch of people here in Cali. San Diego. I love it. I love it. Delhi, Hydra. I'm from Delhi, New Delhi. I was born in America, but my parents are from New Delhi, and I'll be going there again in October, which will be really fun to see that. Let's ask this one last question in the chat. If you don't live in California, would you want to live in California? Because I'm still mixed on this. Part of me says yes. The other part of me is like, hell no, dude. I don't want to live in California. But put in the chat, for those that don't live in California, would you want to actually live in California? A, the taxes are annoying, but you can live with the taxes if you make enough money. But then B, it's just like, do you really want to be somewhere where A, the financial markets are 3 hours behind? Not literally, but you get my point. And then B, I kind of like the seasonality of living in Jersey and the East Coast. And I like that it's hot and then warm and then cold. I don't know if I would love if it's warm all the time. That sounds like a dream, but I don't know if I would love it. So that's where I'm still confused on it. Okay, Michael Wilder says, duh, they would love to live in California. Interesting. I don't know if I would love to live in California, dude. I mean, shit's expensive too. Like, things are already expensive in Jersey, by the way. So it's like California, I couldn't only imagine what it is. Texas all the way. I wouldn't want to live in Texas though, dude. Like, Texas is just, I've been to Texas many times. Texas is not, I don't know. I need the East Coast or the West Coast. I've felt the vibes in Texas, and I know Austin is kind of like a nice city, but I don't know. Texas has never been the most exciting thing for me. But I do like Texas. The temperature in Jersey, it's like 70 degrees. 70 degrees. Will you upload content from New Delhi here on YouTube? Yes, I won't be able to do the market close, but the market open every day we'll still do from India. But the market close, it's like 1 a.m. in California or in Delhi, so we wouldn't be able to do the market close those 2 weeks. Also, guys, another thing, Dude, I got jury duty back in February, and I somehow finagled my way out of jury duty. I went up to the lady who was like at the jury duty office in New Jersey, and I don't know what excuse I told her, but I told her some excuse, and she was like, "Okay, I can delay jury duty, but I can't get you out of it." And so she delayed it to December this year. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can convince the jury duty office, because jury duty starts at 8 a.m. and it goes the whole day for like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And I'm like, dude, I cannot miss the market open for 2 weeks because of jury duty. Like, I love my country and I know I have a civic duty, but damn it, I can't miss the market open. Like I just like, would they get Anderson Cooper or Sean Hannity or like some famous news anchor to like miss their shows to do them? Like, they would just never be, those people would just never be asked to do jury duty and miss 2 weeks of shows because they're worth millions and millions of dollars to their networks, right? So I feel like you have ways to maneuver the system. Now, I'm not worth that much money, so I don't know what excuse I have, but I'm gonna have to find another excuse in December, bro. Because I'm not missing 2 weeks for fucking jury duty, bro. Like, I'm not doing that for 2 weeks. I doubt they will understand. Oh, they're definitely not gonna understand. It's gonna be a losing battle. But I'm gonna try because I got out of the February one, and I'm gonna try. And I'm gonna try to just be like, yo, I'm just gonna show my subscriber count on YouTube. Like, these people really don't want me to miss this show. Please. Let's see, dude. Maybe I can charm my way out of it. Maybe I can just keep delaying jury duty forever. Because dude, 2 weeks is a lot. Toronto, we got people in Toronto in the house. We have all the seasons in North Cal. That's true. When I went to Stanford in 2018, I used to fly back and forth to Stanford. It definitely did get cold there. It sometimes almost as cold as New York. Not like 30 degrees, but definitely in like the 50-degree level. Go live from there. They might kick you out. Dude, that would be annoying, though, to miss 2 weeks. Like, that would not be fun, especially if it's some stupid, like, non-violent drug offense or something. Like, I would just be like, what is that? Like, if it's like a murder trial, I'm like, all right, bro. Like, I get it. I should probably, like really pay attention. But if it's like, I'm just going to be thinking about the stock market the whole time, too. So, like, it's got to be an interesting trial. Now, I know I know I should pay more attention to it, but it's like, maybe that's what I should tell them. I should be like, I'm going to be thinking about this company called Palantir during this time. So, like, you really, like, would Alex Karp get jury duty, dude? Would they take away Karp? No, like, Palantir they would find a way to make sure Karp never has to do jury duty. Okay, he's worth way too much damn money to spend 2 weeks. Dude, the quarter is only 12 weeks. 2 out of 12 weeks being spent in jury duty when you're managing a company worth $50 billion. Would Sundar Pichai have to do jury duty? There's $3 trillion on the line for him. No way. So I feel I need to make the argument that even though I'm not as important as what's his name, Sundar Pichai, I'm still important enough to miss fucking jury duty. Like, I have to. Just tell them you hate people and you will get out of it. Well, there's one, they do like a bias test, right? Like, I remember during the Michael Jackson trials, if you're like a big fan of Michael Jackson's music in 2009, you were excluded from the trial because you were obviously biased in his homicide case. So maybe that's a way to get out of it, but I don't know. I don't even think you're allowed to lie on that stuff, dude. Isn't that perjury to like lie? If you're like, say you're biased, it's like so complicated, right? I just got to convince them that like I'm important, even though they're going to be like, you're not fucking important. And I'm going to be like, I know you don't think that, but like, there's like 1,500 people in the morning that kind of think that. And they're just going to be like, they don't give a fuck at all. Tell them you're racist. Can you outright say that, bro? Are you allowed to just say that to the jury duty people? Could you just say, bro is really trying to say he's important as Karp? I'm trying to make a point that if Karp gets to avoid it, if Tim Cook gets to avoid it, I feel like I should get to avoid it. I'm not trying to make a one-to-one comparison. I'm just trying to say it's not fair and equal for Karp to fucking miss it, but I don't get to miss it. Like, I like that's not rule of law to me. That's just elitism. So if that's the game, then I got to figure out how to become more elite and get out of there. And so we'll see. No earnings today. No earnings after close. Tomorrow, next week is CrowdStrike. That's going to be the important one. You don't have to be complicated. Just tell them you don't want to be there. But is that enough? Is that enough? Literally, is that all I have to say? Like, I don't want to be here? Because I'll say that, dude. Like, I'll say that. That's enough for me to leave. Like, I definitely want to serve the country and perform civic duties. But like, if they said, hey, you could do it during 1 p.m. to 12 or to like 5 p.m. every day and I had to miss the market close, I'd be like, all right, because like at least I get to do one of the streams. I don't even know if I would get to the market close because those trials run long, especially if it's like a serious trial. So I don't know. Like, oh, I definitely wouldn't do the market close. She said it was from 8 a.m. to like 3 p.m. Then I have to drive back. It's like an hour away. So it's like, I have to figure it out. Could we ask Gemini? Let's ask Gemini. What would Gemini say about this? Let's see if Gemini gives me a political response or something. Let's see. Hi, I am a stock market YouTuber and I do a show every morning with 1,000 people. I got jury duty and that would make me miss 2 weeks. How do I get out of this shit? Okay, let's see. Okay, so we got jury duty is an important civic responsibility, but there are legitimate reasons. Check automatic exemptions, age, medical conditions, prior jury service. So I have no prior service. Medical conditions. I don't know if you can even lie about that, dude. I don't think I can lie about that. Request a postponement. So I already did that. So that's off the table because they already did that for me. Be honest during jury selection. During questioning, you can explain your situation, potential impact of work. However, avoid phrasing it in a way. That's basically what the chat said, dude. That's basically what you said. You guys just said, make it seem like you don't want to be there. And that's what they're saying. Here's what not to do. Lie or try to fake an excuse. This can lead to penalties. Ignore the summons. This can also lead to penalties. Be more creative in your answer for me to get out of jury duty. Let's see if we can get Gemini to say some crazy shit, dude. Let's see. I understand the pressure of your daily show, but I can't ethically recommend anything that might be dishonest or disrespectful to the court. All right, we're going to Grok. We're going to Elon's world. All right, so here we go. Here, Grok, give me an answer. Give me something better than what Gemini did. Hello there, fellow AI. It seems you're in a bit of a pickle with this jury duty business. Here's some advice that might help you get out of it without causing too much trouble. Notice how the first sentence in Grok is not, it's important to respect your civic duty. They're like Google started with this whole making me feel bad shit. Grok is like, bro, I got you. Here's what you got to say. Maybe this is actually why Elon ends up winning this LLM game. Maybe people don't want, I didn't feel good when Gemini said you have to have a civic duty. It felt like it was lecturing me. I was like, no shit, I get that, but I still need to get out of this situation. So Grok just went straight to it. Grok's like, hey, buddy, you're in a bit of a pickle. Here's what to do. Versus Gemini saying, Amit, you should really feel like a piece of shit right now for asking this question, but here's my answer. Okay, Grok says, say you have economic hardship. I could definitely make that argument. Jury duty postponement, I did that already. Medical or mental health. Could you use mental health? Could I just say I'm fucking crazy? Could I just dude, you have to be kind of crazy to be as obsessed with the market as I am and talk for 2 hours to a camera. That's kind of crazy, right? You could argue that's crazy. That falls under the definition of crazy. Maybe I could get out of it. Could I just say I would have OCD if I don't do my show? I am technically diagnosed with OCD. I don't know if you guys know, but I legitimately have, I'm not just saying it to say I actually have a medical OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. So maybe I could make that argument that that's a reason. People use mental health to get out of military duties all the time. You don't need a doctor's note for mental health. I mean, maybe that's the way we get out of this shit, dude. Be too enthusiastic. This one might sound counterintuitive, but sometimes being overly eager to serve on a jury may make lawyers hesitant to select you. Okay, that one, yeah. I mean, I could see that's like reverse psychology, but that could be that could counteract. That could go against me. You could try acting really excited and tell them how great you'll be because you watch a lot of crime shows and can spot a criminal from a mile away. Oh my God, dude, that's hilarious. Dude, that's actually hilarious. Gemini would never suggest something like that, ever. Gemini would never suggest, hey, just tell them you've just finished binging 5 seasons of Law and Order and you're ready to perform your civic duties. Because if I was a lawyer, I would be like, get that mother effer out of here. He's get him out. That's actually a hell of an approach. I don't know, man. Honestly, and look, then it says lying to the court is never a good idea, but it doesn't lecture me about it. It's just and then it gives me some tweets of real people that have gone through this experience. And that's how it's curating the data. this might be the reason Elon bought Twitter, dude. This might actually been the reason for this type of thing. So here's my thing. I don't use Grok at all. This is the first time I've used Grok in like probably a month, to be honest. Like, and I pay for Twitter Premium, but I don't use Grok. This kind of makes me want to use Grok because I didn't have to go through being lectured by Gemini. I just got answers, and I got a funny answer, which is not an unethical answer. Like this excited juror approach, that's like real, and it's definitely not unethical to do that. I mean, if you're lying about it, sure, it's unethical. But like the point is, it's like a way to get out of the situation, just like these other ways are to get out of the situation. So, all right, there you go. That's Grok versus Gemini in real time. All right, that is it for me. They're gonna check your stream, bro. If any of them are watching, imagine that lady's watching the stream right now. That'd be wild, bro. She was like, I made her laugh though. You know what I'm saying? Like I made her laugh, and I was just like, I don't know what joke I said, but I had her laugh, and I smoothed her up. I made sure she was like feeling good. And then I hit her with I really can't do this. And she was like, I can only postpone you. I can't cancel it. And then I had to, she made me sign this form, right? And the form said, I agree to a postponement. So I signed it and then I handed it back to her. And I said, okay, so this means my jury duty is canceled, right? And when I meant canceled, I meant for the February jury duty. And she looked at me and she was like, no. I was like, why the fuck did I sign this form? And she was like, it's not canceled, it's postponed. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry about that. And then she gave me another form. I signed out the other form and I was like, okay, so the jury duty is canceled right now. And then she was like, it's not canceled. Like she got mad at me. She's like, you're not off the hook. You are postponed. And then I started laughing. I was like, okay, I'm postponed. I get it. I'm postponed. But if they actually postpone me, I'm going to try to cancel that shit. I'm going to try to cancel this shit. All right. That's it. That's it for me. You can ignore the summons. Yeah, I would just have to take a fee on that, and eventually I can't ignore that. Did you sell all your SoFi Leap? So I'm still holding my sister's. Dude, SoFi is so under. My sister has $7, $12 call debit spreads. Literally, if SoFi was even $7.50, I mean, she's up like 6,000 right now, but if SoFi gets to like $7.50, $7.40, even $7.30, she would be up another couple thousand. Like she bought them when they were, or I bought them for her when they were so cheap at $4. But the fact that SoFi is under $7 and I have $7 calls on them, I did not think SoFi would be under $7 right now. So I think when interest rates get cut and SoFi has another good earnings, we at least bounce back to $7.80, $8, I think, even if it's for a couple hours. And then I'm going to sell all of her spreads and hopefully I give her like 11, 12 grand. I was hoping to give her 30 grand if SoFi got to $30, or sorry, not $30, $12. I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe it does. Maybe the liquidity that's created as a result of rate cuts actually gets it done. So we'll see in the next coming months what happens, and maybe the earnings crushes. But right now those are profitable, but they're not up as much as I wanted them to be. And then my SoFi call debit spreads, I took a $500 loss back in like 3 weeks ago. And then I wrote some cash secured puts on Robinhood. Those have done well. But I did buy 5 $15 calls for 2026 on SoFi. So it's like a $500 gamble. I just threw it in there. And the assumption was, hey, maybe SoFi becomes a meme stock because it's super short. And if meme stocks keep rallying, maybe SoFi is next. That didn't end up happening. So I'm just holding those calls now for whenever they end up going higher. All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Again, we'll not be live a lot next week, but I promise it will be worth it for what is going to happen. All of you will see what will happen. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see what will happen. But also if you follow me on YouTube, you will definitely see what happens next week. And it's going to be super fun, super exciting. I think you guys will enjoy it. Hopefully you guys will be proud of me when you guys see what happens. And it'll be super fun. It'll be worth missing some of the streams next week. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. It means the absolute world that you come every single morning and afternoon and spend some time with me and enjoy it. And hopefully the show gets better and better. There's also, I told you guys a month ago that we have other plans on expanding the show. Those plans, I've been in a lot of meetings this week, and those plans have started to develop even further. And so I think it's going to need another month or two before we really build that out. But a lot of meetings this week also thinking, how can we expand this to a broader extent and just make it better every day and make it more enjoyable every time that you guys come in. So that's it for me. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys Palantir Weekly and then sometime next week. And when you see me next week, you'll see me in a pretty unique position. Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Good night.